What's going on, AlchemyPhyt family? This is Madison and James coming at you again from the vault. And we are, first off, so happy to see you. And whatever day it is for you that you're watching this, hope you're having a rocking day. But we are going to be going into a part 2 of what we talked about last week, which was, the WWE and how we were headed to a live event on Valentine's Day. And so, how basically we're just going to be talking about what we did, how
The
much fun it
aftermath of
was,
it,
the
yeah.
recap of it all, and kind of again, like seeing it live and in person, how it ties into fitness, nutrition, wellness, like overall as a whole. So,
Yeah, we're still
James,
a wellness channel.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Just we have some hobbies that we can
Yeah.
relay it all back into the wellness world.
Even though, yeah, we have the potential of actually turning into a pretty decent pro wrestling channel, but that's a whole other rabbit hole to
That
go
will
down.
be in another channel. Don't worry, because I have some opinions. Now that I'm in here, I'm ready to get obnoxious.
Oh, yeah.
But
You got to be.
for sure though, so I'll go ahead and take it to you. For you being a wrestling fan and gone to certain events, like how did the event on Saturday, how did that look to you as like a long-term fan?
As a long-term fan, when we pulled up to the parking lot, I was really surprised at how many people were coming in because the last event that they went to, it was so-so. It was so-so. The attendance wasn't there.
It was 2019,
It
right?
was 2019,
Okay.
2018, one around those. Facebook, I guess they, in the past, because Facebook, the memories thing,
Yeah.
uh, there was one yesterday, the day before, where it was the event that Seth and Cena main evented. And so I guess they do like to pay some, empirically speaking, springtime visits. So I was
Mhm.
pretty happy to see that Lubbock, the fan base, showed up on it. I wrote about it on Instagram at ReeseMode924 if you want to follow
You did.
about
It was
it.
very heartfelt. Let's check it out.
Um, because it was such a different experience for me, especially because the last few times I've been to a wrestling show, it's just been me. And it's fun. If you go by
Yeah.
yourself, yeah, sure. But when you go with your family and stuff, it's a very different feeling. So that was something that I really enjoyed, and I was happy that y'all were able to see it. It was a great
Yeah.
show. There was a few other wrestling fans that I know that I've spoken to since then outside that they asked me, what did I thought, and I said that was probably one of the best house shows I've ever been to, and it was. And one of another personal trainer, he said it was the best live event he's ever seen. I think he's been to WrestleMania too, which is saying something.
That's a lot.
That's
Yeah.
a big
'Cause
deal.
WrestleMania is
Um,
huge.
so I was really, really happy with just how it just was
Yeah.
over. I mean, um, glad to see all the people there, the superstars. That was a stacked card. I don't think people realize how many main eventers that we had. Like five, I feel, world champions, WrestleMania main eventers there. That's a
Yeah.
big deal when you can pull that off. And so, like, I was just happy to be in front of the ring again
Yeah.
to see it. So, in your case, this was your first time being. What was going through your head when you pulled up to the parking lot and you're seeing the lines
Truly, I was
and the
really
fans?
excited to see that there was a lot of people because it's just like when you go to any sporting
Yeah,
event, any concert, any form of entertainment, you want to see a lot of people because that's a great sign that one, there's a big amount of awareness. Two, there's a lot of word of mouth that will be going on
yeah,
before and after that cause that much people. And three, that requires like a high potential that they'll come back. And so you always want to see that. And because I've been, concerts and stuff
yeah.
like that to where I really liked seeing a big crowd of people because that meant, okay, they'll be coming back to this area again. And but when I pulled up, I was like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, one, I kind of figured because being in this town of Lubbock, everybody gets there early and gets in lines. And I know how like the Spirit Arena works and all that, but it was really cool to not only see the amount of people, but the quality of people. It was people that had belts
Yeah.
and had, their own masks on, their own makeup done, their own shirts. They had merch going crazy. They had so many things. There was not like a single person that was in like a group of people that was just, to me, just dressed like they really didn't know what they were coming into.
Yeah.
Like every single person that I saw was intentional. They were all very in the know what they were about to witness and go see. And so I just thought it was so cool because I was like, okay, so like a lot of people really into this. Like, all
Yeah.
right, here we go. And I know
Mhm.
my dad kept calling me a redneck for going because he just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And I was really excited. But yeah, going in there and then like waiting in line for the merch table. Oh my gosh. Waited for an hour and we barely moved like 2 feet.
That's been the common, like, from a friend of mine, Dallas. He texted me the next day asking what I thought about it, and he was giving his 2 cents. I said it was a great event, but the merch, I think that they had underestimated
I agree.
with how much merch they were going to sell because of the last event just
Right.
not pushing. But yeah, we got in line. We got there around 5:15. The event didn't start till 7:30.
Doors
But
open at 6.
yes,
We went in, we let people go in.
yeah,
We fortunately from your dad got to get in like to the elevators and little
yeah,
access pass there. And so we got to go through. And so yeah, I feel like we got in line at a normal time. We had an hour
yeah,
until the first bell was going to ring. We had an hour
yeah,
and we sat in that line, me, James, and his sister, and we sat there. And first off, I knew we were going to be in that one longer because when y'all chose that line, I looked at the other one and I noticed it was moving faster, and I was like,
just that
I
something.
knew it. I did. I told Nicole, I was like, that other line was moving faster. We should. She was like, well, do you think we should go out and go to that one? And I was like, it's kind of no point now. I was like, because now we're here and it didn't look like we could see the merch table. It's
Yeah.
not like we were wrapping around the arena because they had them at all four main corners.
Mm-hmm.
But one, I knew I should have just been like, nope, let's go, which is what I'm used to doing in concerts. Like
Yeah.
when me and my cousin go, we navigate and we know how I know how to get to those merch tables easy. But
I
this
know this
was,
now.
yeah, because then after I did it, so yeah, so we waited for an hour, and so I was like, well, I've never been to one of this before. Like, this is all great that they're selling this stuff, but it was just impossible to think that they were barely moving. And I think it was a lack of like staff at that particular table,
Yeah.
and people just being like indecisive and very overwhelmed and
Yeah.
things like that. I think that was the issue with the line we were in because the other line was going like clockwork. And I feel like because there's always something you're going to run into with that, like whether it's a concert or any sort of entertainment, is there's always that merch table that's got it going.
Yeah.
That is a person that is running the kiosk that is used to doing it and knows how to keep the tempo. And so yeah, so we had maybe 10 minutes until it was 7:20 and we still had barely moved 2 feet. And I was like, screw it, we're
Yeah.
done. Let's go sit down because I want to make sure that I am sat and like ready to go because I don't want to miss a minute.
Yeah.
Because I'm like that at concerts too. Like we paid for this experience. I want to experience all of it as much
Yeah.
as I can. And so yeah, that I was like, but that I'm used to. So I was like, okay, merch, like whatever. And like you said, like there was going to be an intermission. There was going to be after where you can get them. Like it's fine. And so, yeah, and so going there and just seeing so many people starting to sit down and one, seeing how close we were, I was like, okay, this is going to be pretty stellar.
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to be fun. But yeah, it was just the overall amount of people that were there with signs and were filling the seats and so excited. Like that to me was just really cool to see because I
Mm-hmm.
always like when people can, have a chance to get out of their homes and go enjoy something, especially like as a family or even as an individual. So I thought that was incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I heard the announcer come on and start to get excited and when he was talking about the first match being the women's tag team and I heard Rhea's
Yeah.
intro music, oh, I went nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was so much fun because I compared a lot to like when I go to concerts because I was never a big concert person because that was just not something that I did because of sports. I was too busy all the
Yeah.
time. Every weekend that there was a concert, I had a tournament or a game or I had to rest and I was
Yeah.
hurt, whatever. And my cousin was always going to concerts. And so my cousin Riley, shout out to her, she started taking me to concerts. And she was like, yeah, I've gone to some by myself. She was like, but there's nothing like seeing somebody who's not really been to concerts and
Yeah,
how they experience it. So
it's a
she
good.
likes taking me because I'm a kid in a candy store. So I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my God, this is all so amazing. And I was like that when I went to like my first Notre Dame football game. My aunt, she was like, there was nothing like seeing the look on your face and
yeah,
how you took everything in. And so I was using this opportunity to do the same thing. And so that's why I was like joking with your sisters and I was grabbing them like, oh my gosh, like this is, and I was
yeah.
talking really loud because I was like, this is so fun.
I was peeking at y'all a little bit, and through this my peripherals vision, if you will, seeing your visceral reaction to every match, and it was that made the experience for me personally a lot better because I knew you were gonna like it,
Oh yeah.
but
I knew I was going to have fun regardless.
I think you ended up loving
Oh, I loved it.
it, and to
Absolutely.
see you just to respond to every athlete, to every wrestler that was out there, you probably didn't know some of them, you know,
I only
and
didn't know, I think two of them,
yeah,
and it
which
was the
one?
women tag
The
team.
women tag
The
team.
ones that went against Rhea and
Oh yeah,
Io.
they're on SmackDown. They're kind of
Yeah, I
Julia and
know who they
Kiana
are
James and Jade
now.
or something.
Yes, I know kind of
Yeah,
who they are now, but yeah, going into it, I really didn't. And then the match with Damian Priest, I didn't know
yeah.
the guy he was facing super
So you
well.
knew like Sami Zayn and Trick and
No, I'm
all
saying
the
I knew Trick,
yeah.
and then like Sami Zayn, like that's when I didn't know
Okay.
because I was kind of like, who's this? But as soon as he came out, I was like, okay, I've seen you
Yeah.
before. Like I had a familiarity with all of them, but yeah, there was some I didn't know. But yeah, it was. I was prepared for like certain surprises and stuff. And yeah, but when I got to actually see Rhea, I know
Yeah.
I talked a lot about her in the last one and see her intro, see how she was messing with the audience
Yeah.
and having so much fun and just seeing how I was like, this girl is a WWE superstar. She's wrestled all over the world and she's in Lubbock, Texas right now. But you are looking at her and she's acting like this is WrestleMania
Yeah.
because she is giving 100% her effort. Her and Io both, because I love Io Sky. I
Yeah.
think she is tremendous, insane athlete, and I think them as a tag team is fantastic.
It's worked out a lot because what they've done in the past, they being the WWE, really just any wrestling organization, is they'll just, all right, we're just going to throw you two together, and
Right?
whatever happens, happens.
Yeah,
And in that case, because those two were rivals for a while
they
through
were.
their NXT days, because prior recording we were talking a little bit about the lore, if you will, and their rivalry has always been somewhat one-sided in favor of Io because Io Sky is legitimately the argument can be made that she's one of the best professional wrestler on the planet, but from men and women both, and because of just her capabilities. If you dive more back into the lore of just where she's been and just to see what she's done, she was wrestling men. I think she was in Lucha Underground. She went by think another name or something similar to what
Yeah,
she's doing now.
she touched a little bit on
But
that
she
on
was
the
wrestling, I think,
documentary.
Penta, and you know, an intergender match is something you really we've seen them before in the WWE in the past, way past, but not as much lately because
Yeah,
of
something you got to
just
be careful with.
it's something. Yeah, you have to be careful with at least on their front because what the WWE is such a big monster when it comes to sponsors.
Right.
And so your Snickers, your M&Ms, your all these different sponsors aren't exactly going to be, oh, you got an intergender match. They're a little.
Yeah, like, we really don't want to
We
see a
don't want to
man
see
whooping on a
that, even
woman.
though
Yeah.
you know
Even though it's wrestling
it's
and it's,
wrestling, but they
yeah,
don't understand. I think the the lore of it.
right.
Which thank you because now I'm going to start saying that.
Yep.
Um,
I know I said that after I started doing my own research. I was like,
yeah,
there's so much lore to this. And he was like, I'm sorry, lore? And I'm like,
yeah.
yeah.
And I'm glad that they went with that match first because typically speaking, every live event, whether it's a WrestleMania or a Raw, SmackDown, or a house show, you want your first segment or match to just, all right, we got to get these people going.
Yeah, to set the tone.
And they set the tone with that because of just knowing that how over Rhea is. She's arguably the
The most, I think, in my opinion, the most over WWE superstar right now.
the argument you made that she is obviously Roman, Cody, Jay when they came out, everybody stood
Oh,
up.
yeah.
They were waiting for those moments, and But when she came out, I got up because I've been wanting to see her for a while. I finally
Oh,
got.
I'm pretty sure I almost blacked out. I launched out of my seat when I heard "This
Yeah.
Is My Brutality." I went, "Oh my
Oh
gosh,
yeah, the whole.
she's right in front of me."
Yeah.
And
It was.
it was awesome. She looked great. Her and Io looked great. They
Yeah.
whooped butt
They
in
did
that
great.
ring. They did absolutely amazing. And then of course it being Valentine's Day and Rhea being so sweet and
Yeah.
getting Io some flowers. Because I was like, what is she doing under the ring? I was like, if this is a moment that we're about to see her take a chair to Io and it's about to be insane
No, that
and
they.
nobody's gonna be here to see it, I was like, what is she doing?
Oh, they do it.
And then
They would
she
do it.
pulled out that flower bouquet and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so sweet. And one of the things I had only told like my cousin about this when I heard it, but when she gave those flowers to Io, I heard two dudes go, "Oh, I didn't know she was gay." I went, I about threw them through their seats. I was like, just because a woman is strong and intimidating and in all black and able to hug on another woman and support her does not make her gay. You don't get to put that
Yeah.
assumption on her. And I want to be like, actually, she's married to a really awesome big dude.
Yeah,
Okay.
Buddy Matthews.
And he's incredible. And they're super cute together. What's it to you? Like, I got real annoyed when I heard that comment because I was like, you can't just see a beautiful, strong, all blacked out, intimidating, scary looking woman being so sweet to a shorter, all
Yeah.
blitzed out other woman and
The
holding her in
complete
her arms
contrapositive to what she
and
is.
knowing it completely
Yeah.
being chemistry platonic and not see it as platonic because so that I instantly like I looked at them and I bet they could feel like the back of their head getting warm because I got so irritated at
I'm
that.
trying
I
to
was
think who
like,
it was.
well, it was more towards me and Nicole. So it
Okay.
was towards my right. And so
Okay, I know who you're talking about.
I
Yeah.
was like, So I instantly got a little irritated. I was like, okay. And I was like, first off, they have beers in their hands. I was like, don't.
I know who you're
It's
talking
only the
about.
first match. It's fine. And I was like, and a woman can get flowers for another woman. It's not a big deal.
It's
I was like, and
it's telling the
that's
story
not to
too.
say, even if, you are, lesbian, gay, like at all, be you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there's any prejudice against that. I'm not saying that's what I had wrong with it. I don't like people just putting people as a label or in a
Yeah.
box based off of something so small because that was such a nice
It was a
just
great
gesture.
gesture. It was a hit.
It was
You know,
so
I thought it
sweet.
was cool because it's telling a story of just what those two have gone through, like we mentioned a bit ago, with
Yeah,
there was a very intense rivalry between
right.
those two.
There was.
And that's the beauty of pro wrestling is being able to show you two were huge rivals at one point at NXT, WWE. They had a match, I think, less than a year ago
They did.
at Evolution. It was the best match of the night. They just took it to each other, beat the crap out of each other. But to see this now, it's like, okay, this is the beauty of pro wrestling is you're telling the
Yeah.
story within a story. They're tag team champions now. You know, it's two polar opposites in a way with the appearance. Rhea
Yeah.
being Rhea, and then you have Io, who is she's
Yeah,
just
she's
this,
just so spunky and
yeah, she's
just
so lovable,
adorable.
and but she
Yes,
can kick some ass.
absolutely.
And with any fan base, you're gonna get that,
Yeah,
especially in professional wrestling, because it's the same thing with regular sports too.
yeah.
Everyone's gonna want to, there's something I want to say. I mean, we try to keep it PG on here for the most part,
There's
but
just people that'll say some ignorant stuff.
it's ignorant stuff, but also, everybody's got an opinion, so I'll leave out the rest of the phrase. I think y'all pretty much know where I'm going
Yeah,
to. But to see that, and it got a really good reaction
it
on
did,
social
and I've
media.
seen it blow up
Yeah.
everywhere. And people are like, "Oh, that was so nice! Like that was so sweet!" Like I even showed that to my cousin. She was like, "Dude, that was really nice of her. Like that's so cool." And she was like, "Especially to see them as totally polar opposites." I was
Yeah.
like, "I know." And they work so well together. They have
It's
nothing
great
but
chemistry.
admiration for each other about how they want to take care of each other and be the best that they can for their other partner in terms of their like competition,
Hmm.
which I think is super amazing. So I saw that and so yeah, I had to really let that comment slide because I was like
I know what you're talking
it's
about.
the first match of the night. It's fine. And yeah, if anybody knows me, it's very hard for me to hear ignorant things and not say something. But I was like, nope, it's not the time, not the place. It's fine, whatever. And so I'm pretty sure, but I kind of got my point across after where I was like, I love you, Rhea. And I was like, and I screamed, she's so hot. And because I was like, that's awesome. I was like, you can compliment another woman without it having to have some ulterior motive to it or
Yeah.
something like that. You can just pay a person a compliment to pay him a compliment. And so that match was amazing. And then, yeah, when I saw the next match, which was Javon Evans come out and I heard Bouncy, I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Because he's so new. I feel he's so electric. He is on, I feel, just like this upscale of just
Yeah.
his popularity and how well he's doing in his matches. That to see him come out to Lubbock and he's wearing a Texas Tech shirt
I was really wanting to get that
and he
T-shirt.
had a Tech belt, he had a Texas
Yeah.
Tech wrestling belt, and to see him go and be so a part of the crowd, I was like, I just have really started to like this guy in terms of watching him on, Raw and all that. And I was like, and he's here. Like, that's
Yeah.
so cool. Like, to see somebody so extremely relevant just come out and so new to that relevancy was insane. And so I was like, all right, like, who's he gonna face? Like, cool.
Yeah.
And then, and then to see Balor written
Yeah,
across,
that was when I
because
heard the
that was
first
nuts.
tune of that, I was waiting, and then I just heard it. I was like, wait a minute, that sounds like, and it was our dun because he's got a catchy song. He's
I
always
like his
had
song a
a
lot.
catchy song for the past 10 years. And his reaction surprised me from the audience because currently he's feuding with Punk.
Right.
And he has been more of the heel. But when he came out, everybody was happy to see him. And he did not act like a heel. He was very
No,
much
he
a
didn't.
face. And he was like,
Which
the crowd
shows
did
how he
that.
is away from the Judgment Day.
Yeah, and I think that I was really happy to see that. And then when it was him and Javon, because the moment I thought, all right, are they going to tag? Are they going to go against each other? But
Yeah.
it was one-on-one. I was like, oh, we're in for it. We're in for a show.
Yeah,
And we were.
We really were, because it took me a second to realize that it was Finn.
Yeah.
Because I heard it and I was like, okay, like, cool.
Yeah.
And I even saw it and I was like, Balor, all right. Like, and then I heard Jamie freak out. And she was like,
Yeah.
Finn's here. And I was like,
She likes Finn.
and I went, Finn. I was like, okay, that's cool. And he walked out and I went, oh my gosh. I was like,
Yeah.
that's Finn Balor. I was like, what do you
I
mean
heard
he's
you. I
here?
was like, yeah, she knows who Balor is.
Yeah, and so I went, oh my gosh, like, it took me a second to really be like, I just saw you call out CM Punk on Monday Night Raw,
Yeah.
and now you're right here. Like, what are you doing here? And so, yeah, it was just like Javon Evans, though. I was like, these two people that I feel like are definitely well on their way in terms of being just high popularity and relevance right now, we're going to face off against each other. I was like, I don't think you could get that match anywhere else. Like, that particular pairing at that point in time and where the storylines are currently, I thought that was a very
I see what you're saying.
interesting turn, because I was like, when would you ever see this? I was like, until right now.
Random.
And so I was like, that's so neat. And so, yeah, when they came out, like, I have to say, as much as I adore Rhea and Io, or Rio, as they're called, that was my favorite match. It was, because it was so unexpected. The crowd just erupted when Finn came out.
Yeah.
Because, again, it was seeing who he really is when he's not with the Judgment Day. And everyone loved it. And the way that he behaved, the way he was smiling, the way that the fans erupted to him, and how he was able to kind of talk to us and just see how their match was so good. I mean, the athleticism from both of them, especially Javon Evans. I mean, his athleticism. And again, of course, I'm watching all of these matches and I'm thinking about where they are at an athlete standpoint in terms of their mentality. Where are they at in terms of their fitness and nutrition? Because I'm thinking, okay, if he's moving this way, he's got to have at least 2 mobility days. He's got to have at least an active recovery day. I know he's probably doing ice bath. He's probably doing some heat therapy, might do some deep fusion massages. Like, I'm thinking all of this as I'm watching matches. I'm thinking of how it's coming from in a wellness perspective of how they have to take care of their bodies. And oh my gosh, you two were just on Raw. You were just on SmackDown. You had to go from Friday to Saturday. You had to travel. What did you do when you were traveling? How did you take care of yourself traveling from Dallas to here? And then how are you going to take yourself going from Lubbock to going to Raw on Monday? And how do you recover from that? And so I'm thinking all of these things. And always being like, you can't turn the wellness brain off, because
Yeah.
that's all I'm thinking about when they're doing it. But
It goes hand in hand with pro wrestling.
it does, because they have to take care of themselves, because they have so much potential for injury and accidents to happen. I mean, we see
Mhm.
it all the time. And so I'm watching them just being like, they have to be very mobile, they have to be agile, they have to be very smart in terms of their moves. And so, yeah, I couldn't stop thinking, especially when Javon Evans is out in the ring, I'm thinking about all the things that he has to do to be that coordinated and athletic,
Yeah,
because he's
he's
got to put in the work for it. And I
tremendous.
know he does, because he is so captivating. You see some of the jumps and moves that he does, and you're just sitting there with your jaw on the floor, like, how did he do that?
It's so he is a right. He's only 21,
Which is
which is
insane.
insane because Balor is in his 40s. So there's a
He
20-year.
is.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would not have guessed, but it's
It's
those Irish genetics.
he's taking care of himself. He's always that. He's a ripped dude.
Well, and didn't Jamie told me like he doesn't eat carbs, and I
It's a
really
part of a
went,
joke.
huh?
It's a
And I
joke.
kind of
I
looked at
said
her
it
and I
out
went,
loud is
what?
that he doesn't eat carbs because it's a joke.
Okay.
Because he's always been a shredded dude.
Yeah, he's shredded to the
And
gills. He looks like he could be stage ready in terms of
yeah,
bodybuilding.
he's always been shredded, and his repertoire of his arsenal of moves is high flyer. Because when he does the coup de grace, boom, he jumps up real high
Yeah.
and so forth.
But I've never seen him wrestle until that
Oh,
day.
he's a solid. He's always been um, just a solid performer all around because he does have an alter ego called the Demon, and it's badass in the sense of the presentation because he's all painted out. He's got like
Okay.
yeah,
I've seen a
look it
little bit
up,
of that.
look it
Yes.
up.
And isn't he in black?
He's in black.
Yes.
He's got
Like
the
black.
mask
Okay.
on,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
comes out and he crawls out. It's such a different presentation of because we know that's Finn Balor, but it's the demon. It's the demon side of him, and the whole aura of who that of he is just completely amplifies. And so he had a match with Seth Rollins at a SummerSlam of man, it's 10 years ago. You know, it feels like yesterday. It was for the Universal Championship, I believe. We were talking about shoulder injuries. Well, during that match, Seth power bombs him running into the guardrail. He screws up his shoulder. Finn does, and he immediately knows. You can tell when it happens, and he ends up winning the match. But he has to the next day comes out in a sling. And he vacates the new Universal title. Finn is what I think why the audience was so ready for that is because ever since that injury, his career hasn't been quite the same because he was the Universal Champ. He just beat Seth. He beat Roman earlier that month. So I was like, oh, this is the
He was on
dude.
the come up. Yeah.
He's on the come up. This was 10 years ago. And not saying that since then that he hasn't been in anything meaningful. He has.
He's just been working his way back up since then.
Yes, because of just how luck has been. Um, there's no telling what could have happened if that injury didn't happen.
Oh yeah.
And I think as a fan base, I know me because I've always liked Finn Balor because of his style. We're in the same age bracket, so me is who I am as a man, a person, and all that. I think to myself, okay, this individual, we're in the same age bracket. What can I learn from this guy in terms of how to stay in shape and from a nutrition standpoint? Because I know that we've talked about like where I'm at in my life right now with my nutrition. I'm losing weight. I have to lose
Right.
weight because of just stuff,
Longevity and things like that.
longevity,
Yes.
blood
Right.
work that
Right.
just
Right.
got done. We'll talk about that in another whole other thing. But um, yeah, for me, I think that match was, I'd say match of the night for me, kind of
Yeah.
on what you said, because it was just such a surprise. But those two individuals, those two wrestlers, Evans is the future. He's going to be in the elimination chamber, which was huge. I was not, you were texting me about that.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be Gunther who's going to end up winning that triple threat.
That was
It's Evans.
insane.
So it's going to be interesting to see, where Gunther goes from here.
Yes, because that. Whoo.
You
Yeah.
know, because
But
of who he is right now, he's on a rampage. So
he's the
yeah,
career killer.
that was fun. What was the third match? I think we're going. Um,
Third match
It
was
may have been Priest and Alistair.
yes,
Yeah.
it was Priest and Alistair, because then after that one was Trick.
Trick and Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
That's another up and comer right there. I was a little disappointed that Lash Legend wasn't there, who's his fiance, because those are two powerhouse athletes right now that they're just impressive.
Yeah,
You know, Lash is one of the strongest women on the roster right now. She's on the up and up. She had a really great showing at the Royal Rumble. She eliminated like the Bella Twins, both of them at the same time.
I
So
saw that
she's
clip.
got the
Yeah,
rocket strapped onto her. When Trick came out, I stood up and yelled, "Whoop that Trick!" because I was like, "There's
that was
probably not any other time in my life I'm going to be able to do that and get away
yeah, absolutely.
with
Because
it."
as soon as he came out, I was like, oh my gosh, what?
Yeah,
Because yeah, again, I didn't think I was going to, because I knew of him,
yeah.
but not as much as, of course, of like Rhea and Finn and Cody Rhodes and Drew
NXT.
McIntyre. And so when he came out, I was like, this is insane. I had a very similar reaction when Damian Priest came out.
Yeah.
Because again, I knew of him. I knew of him and Rhea being the Terror Twins and
Mm-hmm.
Judgment Day and all of his lore with that. And so when I saw him, I was like, that's a big dude.
Yeah.
I was like, he's a big
43,
dude.
44 years old too.
And he's looking awesome. Well, especially
Yeah.
because Jamie had such a good reaction to him. So I really enjoyed seeing Damian. And then, yeah, when Trick came out and he's in that big old coat, first off, I was like, I want that. I want that. I enjoy that. And yeah, he they looked incredible. And so they did so well. I think Damian Trick in both their matches, they did super well. I really enjoyed those because even though it wasn't people that I was super familiar with,
Yeah.
I still couldn't look away. I still couldn't not be captivated by what they were doing and paying attention to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was incredible. And then, of course, like leading up to the final match, which was Cody and
Cody and
Drew.
Drew. Let's not forget about the Usos.
Oh my
Let's talk about
gosh.
them.
How could we forget about the
Let's,
Usos? Oh
'cause
my
that
word. I forgot all
that
about that. I
was
feel so terrible because I absolutely love the Usos because I think they are two of the biggest goofballs. And they just crack me up because they feed off each other. Of
yeah.
course, being blood, you're going to,
Yeah.
but they are just so funny. And just seeing their reaction to a word like yeet was hilarious.
Yeet.
And I got up, I started doing it. I was like, let's do this. And we all started going. And I
I was
just
wanting to see
saw,
that. I wasn't going to partake in the yeet.
oh, I was
but
like, if I'm going to
wanted
be in
to
this, I'm going to be
see
in it.
everybody doing it. And it's like I posted on Instagram and even talking to some friends of mine. At this point in my life, my fandom of who I am as a person, like it was just so cool to see all these little kids being able to do that. Because I was a kid too when I was watching wrestling.
Right.
But for them to see their guy and to do their the
Well, and for it
chant.
to be going so well, because I've always, heard people like, CM Punk, where he's like, yeah, most of the time at events, it's me and Cena seeing who's going to like sell more. He said, but yeah, then you turn around and you see every person doing, singing to the music of the Usos. And he was like seeing the crowd just up there doing this. He goes, and then you're being like, oh my gosh, they're going to sell more than we will, because he
Yeah.
said then they do it over and over, and they come back and they
did
do it for an
3
encore,
times?
and then they do it again, and then the whole audience does it the whole match, and then they do it more after the match. And so
That's when I took my opportunity to
seeing
go to the merch stand. I
how
was like,
contagious it was,
it is very
because
contagious.
again, I was like, oh my gosh, the Usos are going to be coming out. Oh my gosh, the Usos are going to be coming
The
out.
whole arena got up to that.
We all did, and it was
Yeah.
something. And I just feel so bad that I forgot about that, because we were so into talking about Finn and Javon, and I was really excited to see Damien too. But yeah, when they came out, that was like when I felt that my voice was already starting to go, because I was like, oh my gosh. And hearing their song, I had their intro song in my head for over 24 hours. I woke up with it, and I was like, just going. And then I was telling my cousin about it. And I was like, dude, I just have their song, because I would sing it to her on the phone. She was like, what? What is this song? I was like, it's the Uso Brothers, like intro music. It's so good, man. Because it's so catchy.
It is catchy.
It's got a great beat. It's got great rhythm. And so it would not get out of my head.
Yeah. I've listened to
Even
that
now, as we're talking
song
about
for a
it,
while.
it's in my head. But seeing them come in and yeah, just get up on the ropes and start going, should we do it again? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, of course you should. It was the most contagious thing I've ever seen. And to see them you know, like I said, I'm new to this. So
Yeah.
I was like, this was so cool. But to see that they have created this contagious effect for years now, cultivating that, and to see how, you know, I've even saw Jey Uso on a or a mobile commercial
Yeah, he's
where
everywhere.
he's doing it. And I was like, even they're doing it. I've seen Rhea do it. I've seen Punk do it.
Yeah, Jimmy and Rhea at one point, they were
That
teasing a
is something that
romance.
I want to talk about in a totally different thing because I
Yeah.
went down that rabbit hole
Oh, you
yesterday
did, huh?
and I was for it. I was all for it, but we'll continue
A
that
lot of what he
anyways.
did during that whole
We'll
thing was.
cover we'll just cover what happened on Saturday. But yeah, I have a whole other opinion about that. But
I want to hear it.
seeing them come out for their match was so much fun, and just seeing how goofy they are. Like, oh my gosh, you literally look out and you're like, it's just two bros having fun.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. Just it looks like they're just having the time of their lives and enjoying every aspect of it. And they just had everybody just on their feet going nuts.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you took the opportunity to go to the merch table during intermission. Didn't say a word. Did not say a
They were
word. I
eating.
thought he was being so like nice and, you know, going with his dad, so they would
No, I
go
did
get him
that
a
too.
snack.
We
And
went.
yeah, but that's why I saw y'all leave, and I was like, oh, he's gonna take care of his dad, because I thought he was gonna tell us, because me and his sister Nicole really wanted to get merch, and so I did not want to miss out on getting a specific merch item that I had my eye on. And so we saw him go, and then saw you come back with this merch bag because we're still going. I was
I
not
didn't want
gonna
to
stop.
interrupt y'all's eating.
I was
So,
not going to stop
you know,
yeeting until they were out. I was not stopping. I took so many videos and photos of them.
I'm the ultimate
And
opportunist,
so it
like
was,
Edge.
and so until they left, then I was like, huh. And I kind of came back to my body and I was like, okay, yeah. And I went, oh my gosh. So then I run to go get in the merch table and it's still not moving. So I went, you know
Yeah.
what? And I was by myself at this point because I was like, no, I'm going to go to the merch table. And I went,
At this
no.
point, when she's by herself in line, we're watching her. I mean, me and my dad are even like,
Because,
she
yeah,
got
like I said,
snacks.
they were fine.
Yeah. So we went to use the men's room, and then he was like, "Well, I'm gonna get my snacks, and then I'll go to the merch table." No one's in line, so we got everything taken care of within less than 10 minutes. But that is just how me and my dad work. We're very boom.
Well, you said you knew as soon as the announcer was coming out there wasn't going to be another match and that it was leading to intermission.
It's just because that's me
Yeah, you
going to
said
live
that you
events.
knew. And so I was like, well,
Because
you could have shared that. And
I could
so
have.
he came over and he just like looked at me and I was like, what the heck, dude? Because
I
I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm going to leave the merch
I gave
table
her a Punk thing, but
and
she
I'm going
didn't
to
want it.
go it was not that I didn't want it. It would because I left. I
Okay.
went and got a snack in the merch line because I was like, no, I'm not going to have time for this. So I go get it. And then I go sit back down and I was like, wait a minute, where did you get this merch from? And he was like,
She was shocked.
well, I knew that, you know, they weren't coming out again, so I knew it was gonna be intermission. I was like, and you didn't think to say something? And so he just reaches in the bag, gives me the CM Punk hoodie, just gingerly hands it over to sister, and
I
I
knew you were
snatched
gonna
that
get it.
thing.
I knew you
I
didn't even
snatched the
take it the
thing
other night.
and I snatched it and I was like, this is the only way you're making up for this. But because I knew that you bought it for you and you were offering this as a peace offering to not get me to be like, what the heck, dude? And so I was like, no, he really wants this. And I'm going to go get my own merch anyway. And so I was like, it's
I
fine,
just bought it
whatever.
because it was $20. It
And
was a deal.
so it was a super great beanie. So
If you, I
yeah,
mean,
I'll gladly take it. But
I
it was
usually buy
cool
stuff usually for merch because I know that okay, I can wear this, but I also know that you're gonna dig it too. So I was like,
Oh yeah. And so
I get it. It's like a dual.
yeah. So I
Purchase.
saw it and I was like, okay. So I held that beanie during the whole rest of it. And then yeah,
She
and then
threw it in my face,
I did. I sure did. I was like, here, I'm gonna go get my own merch now. This was after everything was done.
and it was all
And I got
gone.
my shirt, so let that be shown that I got the shirt that I wanted. It was the winter tour. It had all the wrestlers on it and it said I was there on the back. I made sure I got that shirt because I wanted it.
I didn't get
And
my Rhea picture. That's what I was wanting.
I kind of thought about that and I wanted the Rhea Valentine's shirt, but it had Terrifier on it.
Oh yeah.
And
She
I
doesn't do scary
don't
movies.
do well with horror. And so that's what I say. Me and Rhea have a lot of similarities, but in terms of the horror aspect, I'm like, that comes near me, like, no, but
she
she
just
very much embraces it and she's
yeah.
awesome about it. And so I saw that and I was like, if this didn't have Terrifier on it, that would scare me every time I took it out of the laundry. I would take this shirt. But no, I just got the winter one. But so yeah, we all sit back down and I'm eating popcorn and all that. And it's leading up. You know, we have a couple other matches and stuff like that. And then it comes out to Drew McIntyre. As soon as I heard the bagpipes, I knew we were in for it because I know he likes to run his mouth. And, you know, he's called the Menace. So I knew he was going to be able.
Call him a menace.
I know that's what I mean by you. And so I was like, well, James always calls him a menace. So I can only imagine what he's going to show out. And then he did. And he was in the kilt. And I was like, yes.
I wanted to make a sign. And it would have been, I think, he would have noticed it. I think he would. It's you know, old Roddy Piper. You don't know who Roddy Piper is?
Yes, Roddy Piper.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
you know who Roddy Piper is?
Yes, that's who Ronda Rousey modeled her wrestler after, because I followed Ronda in fighting in UFC.
All right. So back in the day,
I just got
Piper,
major points just now.
Yeah, you did. You've been getting a lot of that lately.
I'm awesome.
Commentators. There's one commentator that would, you know, it's a skirt, not a kilt.
Yeah.
It's a skirt, not a kilt. And so I wanted to make a sign that said, Drew, it's a skirt, not a kilt, just to piss him off.
Oh, I would have. Yeah, I would have held that sign.
You know, here you go, buddy. Because our seating, we had great seats.
We did.
And it was right in the middle where we could have been seen and stuff like that. And because he's just he's done so well considering how he started in the WWE, he's being kind of labeled as the chosen one. Kind of in the same instance of Austin Theory. Mm-hmm. Austin Theory and Drew McIntyre, in my opinion, have a lot in common.
Oh yeah, and Austin Theory and Bronson Reed were there too.
Yeah, they were there too. They put on a
They
good
went
match.
against the Usos.
The Usos, they did. They got their win back Monday night on Raw.
That was annoying.
That was a little.
That was annoying. I'll say it. That was annoying.
But those two, I feel, have a trajectory that can be similar.
Yeah.
Because they just, when you get anointed as the chosen one in pro wrestling, especially by the owner.
That's heavyweight right there.
Exactly. And that can unintentionally cause a backlash from the fan base. It's like, okay, you're the chosen one and all that. We're not going to like you just despite that.
Right, yeah.
And I think that Theory really does have the tools to be I think he's a great wrestler already, but he's just on the cusp of, like, he just needs that breakout, like that match or that moment where, okay, now we're going to get the wash of you being the so-called chosen one off, and now you're going to be your own man. Will that happen? Time will tell.
Right. But when Drew came out, it was just insane.
It was
so much fun. And he takes that mic, and he's like, I don't even want to be here. I'm here against my will. This town sucks.
I like how he did that.
And I loved how they all did it, because Bronson Reed said the same thing. He was like, this town sucks, so gross and like dusty here. And I was like, thank you. I completely agree, because I was like, yes. He came out and he was like, I don't even want to be here, but Cody's dragging me here against my will. He's like, this is so ridiculous. And he was like, I already have your money, so I'll go and buy another car. He said, I'm out of here. And he's when to leave, and he goes, and I'm going to take my sexy ass home. And I lost it, because I thought that was so funny. It was incredibly Drew. And I was like, good. Like, you need that. You need that, like, some sort of, because that was our real, like, only wrestler fan interaction, like, on a microphone that was talking to us. That wasn't like intro music or the Usos or something like that. It was the time where somebody took the mic and was talking to us.
Yeah, it was.
It was the only time. So I thought that's what we really needed at that point. And it was great. And then, of course, Cody comes out, and it's amazing. Absolutely just electric atmosphere. He looked great. And he's very much like, I'm not going to let you disappoint these people, Drew. And so, of course, Drew tries to act like he's walking out of the arena, and Cody just charges at him and rips him back into the ring. We were all like, yes! And so their match was amazing, and it was so much fun. And poor Cody could not get that table out. He tries, because we're all chanting, the story of the match. We want a table. And he tries to get one out. Drew puts it back under. He gets it out again. Drew puts it back under. He gets it out a third time, and he ends up lifting the mats that are next to the arena. So the table gets stuck, and so he has to kind of riff and be like, improvise and kind of like let it go away. And then Drew puts it back under, of course. But then finally, it's at the end, like after the bell's already rung and stuff, because, you know, this was like a non-disqualification match. And he finally goes over.
It wasn't actually. It wasn't.
Really? It was put on the card?
Advertised. Yeah. It was advertised as a non-disqualification. That was my only really, I guess we'll call it, gripe.
Okay.
was, and it's card subject to change.
Right.
We were all under the assumption that it was a no DQ match, and then when I
Yeah.
noticed that when Drew went outside, the ref was counting, and I'm thinking, ah, great, they switched it to a basic match, and so I was like, ah. So that's why the table became
That
the
makes so
pivotal
much more
sense of it,
sense.
because we all wanted to see it because we were expecting it. We
Yeah.
got it, but it was a
Which
DQ
makes so much more
finish.
sense.
It
Yeah.
was a DQ finish, which, okay, you're protecting both of them. I get it. I wanted to see a no DQ match, like St.
Yep.
Valentine's Day street
Oh,
fight,
absolutely.
whatever.
But I figured as soon as I heard the bell ring, I was like, dang it.
Yeah,
But I mean, Cody still got that table out.
he did.
He still set it up and he still threw Drew right through the middle of it.
Yeah,
And
it,
it was awesome. And then Cody did what Cody does and he gets on the mic and he makes all of us feel so appreciated. And he
mhm.
has such a great way of just making you feel like you have that connection with him, even though I've only known who he is for the past 6 months because he got on the microphone and he was like, there's not a whole lot of places that,
Yeah,
I'm super welcome at. He's like, because, some people say, yay, Cody Rhodes, boo, Cody Rhodes, you suck. He was like, but I always feel welcome in Texas.
yeah.
He was like, always, without a doubt. He said, Texas is always like somewhere I
It's
feel
in
like
his
home.
blood.
And so he was talking about that, and we were all, of course, chanting for him and super proud of him. And then, yeah, there's this big piece of the table, and he's like, all right, who wants it? And he gave it to this awesome kid, and he signed it and all that. And so I told my nephew about that, and I was like, buddy, yeah, because he showed the video, and my nephew, because I was taking so many videos for my nephew.
Yeah,
And so my dad was like, my nephew goes, man, that's crazy. He put him through a table. And I was like, yeah, buddy. I said, do you know that he gave that table away to somebody about your age? And he was like, so that could have been me. And I was like, yeah, you could have gotten a piece of a table from Cody Rhodes. And so he was telling, because he spent the night with my dad that night, so he was telling my like brother and sister-in-law the
yeah.
next morning about everything that I saw and where I went. And so it was really cool. But yeah, seeing how Cody was just so appreciative and thanking people for coming, and
Cody's a man.
it felt so genuine. And I thought
Yeah,
that was great because I thought their match went really well. I thought they were both, just it was perfect. It was
yeah,
the heel and the baby face just perfectly representing their genres, if you will. And it was incredible to see how they were. So yeah, so at the end with Cody, I was like, dude, you rock for that. I was like, thanks for doing that. And that made that kid's day
oh
getting a piece of
yeah.
that table. And
You
then I
know,
hightailed it to the merch and I
she
got it
did.
because Cody was still walking around and I was like, I want to wave at Cody. I want to see Cody. Like, this is great. You're awesome. I was like, but I gotta go. And so yeah, I got up immediately and like ran to the merch and got my shirt. But
Yeah, I joined her for to get an extra. I got
well, because I got a sister over
another
there because I was like,
shirt.
girl, I'm like the
I got my
fourth
sister
person
a
in line.
shirt.
Let's go. And so she got to get something. And so that was really fun. But yeah, it was an incredible turnout. And it was something that I hands down want to go to again.
Yeah,
And it's so much fun. And for anybody who's, never experienced it or knocked it, just go to one.
yeah.
They're just go to one.
I
They're just
implore that.
fun.
I think that seeing your reaction, listening to you, and then just going back to that night and really seeing someone who was very unfamiliar with pro wrestling just react the way that you did, it was very heart filling, because I enjoy seeing people, who get to experience it for the first time, and just like, you loved it, but it just to see your reaction, the small things you did, it was just really cool to see
It was
your
super
reaction
fun.
to
It
it,
was
because
great.
pro wrestling in many ways, like when I was listening to Cody, he calls himself the QB1, and when I when we were listening to him that night, you could see it and feel it. He's very much just he's the guy.
Yeah.
Cena's gone. Cena's
Yeah.
retired, and Cody is definitely taking up that mantle,
Yeah.
even at, because
He's got such a leadership
he's, yeah, big
presence.
time. And what I like about him too, just as a person, character, and all that, is that he's a vulnerable dude,
Very
and
much
he
so.
doesn't care about that. Which, as we age, is because he's 40, so, and I'm a little older than him, just a smidge. But when it comes to like showing our emotions and stuff like that, like for the longest time, we weren't allowed to. I say we weren't allowed; it was frowned upon.
Oh yeah,
to
it was
just
toxic
be that.
masculinity at that point.
And he's the complete opposite of that. But
Yeah.
when he does that, it's a very real thing because of just his lineage of his dad, his family, because you can tell he truly loves professional wrestling. So when
Yeah.
you get to see that come out of a performer, it just makes the overall environment, the overall experience a lot better. And
Well,
I'm
because you
really
see him be a person.
exactly.
And so, like he said, like Cody at the end was like, "All right, well, you guys go have a safe Valentine's Day. I'm gonna go get on a plane and see my Valentine."
Yeah.
And like to hear him like fully acknowledge, like his wife and going home, he goes, "And my two others," like talking
Yeah.
about his kids, and to see like, okay, this isn't just this larger than life character. This is a real person
It's a family
who
man.
is on Valentine's Day doing his job, and he wants to go and be with his wife and children
Yeah.
after. And that's what made him just so wholesome. To where I was like, dude, yeah. And
Yeah.
I pegged him as somebody that my nephew would absolutely adore.
Oh yeah.
And so I thought, yeah, it was an insane experience. And so, yeah, but again, when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, well, I hope he's going to be able to like get some food right after this and like get some sleep. Like, hopefully he'll have like maybe an active recovery day on Sunday. Like, I hope he can rest. Like, I'm thinking of all these like things that I hope that they are getting and
Yeah.
taking and tending attention to, especially Devon Evans. Because with him being so young, I'm like, dude, you're fresh. Your ligaments, your tendons, your muscles, your bones, like, please tell me you're taking care of it. And so I'm always thinking of these things. And so coming from it and watching that whole thing from a wellness professional perspective, all I thought about was these people take care of their bodies because they're in tremendous shape. They're
Yeah.
doing exceedingly wonderful limit pushing ability things. And I know that they're going to have to do and put in the work to maintain that,
Hmm.
to aid it, and to recover from it. And so to see that, I was like, oh, yeah, this is so great.
It gives you a whole appreciation for when someone like yourself, you see it live for the first time. Now you truly know what they do
Yeah.
and what they have to put into from a nutritional standpoint, from a mental health perspective, from recovery. I don't like to use the F word. I'm not going to use that word. It's not the what F word I'm talking about when it comes to wrestling, because I find it to be insulting towards what they do as a sport and as a profession, because they get hurt.
Yeah.
Like they get hurt.
Hmm.
And it's entertainment. We all know that, but that's where I appreciate them just as just performers and just as people, because they're doing that for our entertainment.
Yeah.
They're putting their lives on the line. The stuff that Evans
Without
was doing.
protective gear,
Exactly. This
because
is
it's
not,
different.
it's very different. This is not a Hollywood movie. This is not
Well, even in any sports, I mean,
any
they're essentially all
sports.
doing the same thing. But yeah, like in football, they're padded
They're
up
padded
and
up.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. But they are doing backflips, front flips, they're running into each other, they're headbutting each
Yeah.
other. They're doing
And
all these things that
you
they
know,
have to choreograph and get exactly right 100% of the time,
yeah.
or
Or
accidents can
wing it.
happen.
I mean, it's just such a tremendous thing to just behold in
Yeah,
front of you.
you and
You
develop a lot
know.
of respect for them
Hmm.
because you know that they have to put in time for to make sure the match goes well, for the choreography, for every sequence. They got to make sure they're right on the
Yeah.
money all the time, make sure they are fueling their bodies correctly, that they're recovering properly, that they are working out and maintaining their muscle properly. Because I see it all the time with Rhea being in the gym
Yeah.
constantly. I adore seeing that because I'm like, I know that she is putting in the work all the time to be who she is and be where she's at. Because that's what you do as an athlete. That's what you do as a performer. Even like actors and things like that, they put in the time and the work to make sure they give you the best experience you can have. And like you said, it's all for our benefit
Yeah.
and it's great. So, yeah, to anybody that's thinking about getting into wrestling or to go and look at a live show, if you have an opportunity, go.
Yeah.
I would go. I was
Absolutely.
somebody who 2 years ago, you would have told me about, oh, yeah, you'll go to a WWE show. I'd be like, ha, okay, dude, whatever.
And then I walked through the door, and then little did she know.
Well, and then it was the whole family thing. And then it was like, oh, well, let me watch it. This is cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was incredible. So I definitely encourage anybody go try to
Go
be a part
watch
of
it.
it. But also, like we say, don't try these things at home.
Don't.
I was like, and if you do,
I can attest. Don't do
just
it.
be careful.
I've
But
hurt
yeah,
people.
but all in all, like we always say to you guys, be intentional with your body, treat it with respect and intention. But I hope you guys have an awesome whatever day it is for you that you're watching, and tune in next week.